Trump, who is at the center of it all, joins us live by phone. Mr. Trump, good to have you. You won the Drudge poll in the aftermath of that debate, and I'm interested in this question. You came out against the Iraq War 13 years later. You said it was a flat-out disaster. A couple of the other candidates, including Marco Rubio, in effect, defended the invasion of Iraq. What side do you think most Republicans in 2016 are on?
I think everybody agrees, almost, other than, well, even Jeb. You know, it took him 5 days to come up with an answer. He's not too sharp. 5 days. You remember that? Right. When he announced, he didn't know it was a good thing, bad thing. Ultimately, he said it was a bad thing. But the Iraq War was a disaster. It was a mistake. We spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, Tucker, thousands of lives, wounded warriors who we love all over the place. What do we have? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Iran is taking over Iraq as sure as you're sitting there, and that's the way it is. We get nothing. They get the oil, they get everything. We get nothing. So it was a huge mistake, whether people like it or not, and I'm the only one with the vision to have said, don't do it. And I wasn't even a politician when I said that.
Donald, last night, of course, you took on George W. Bush vociferously, as we were just talking about. A lot of pundits this morning and last night saying that was a huge mistake. South Carolina, George W. Bush is hugely popular, that he's going to be campaigning for Jeb this week. So you obviously disagree with that point.
Well, I don't think it's a mistake to say that the war was a tremendous mistake. I think the people in South Carolina, who I know very well, and I'm doing very well there, I think most of them understand. Look, all smart people know that the war in Iraq was a huge bungle. It was a huge mistake. It was a tremendous mistake. And then it was made worse when Obama got us out the wrong way. He should have left some people there. I was against the war, but the way he got out was terrible. And it led to all of the things that you see right now, which is a total catastrophe. But getting us into that war was a mistake. Now, if I'm going to say that and that's going to be negative for me, then I'm going to have to say it anyway because I tell the truth. Don't forget, in that room you had so many special interests. You had all special interests and lobbyists. And they're all cheering on their candidate because their candidates will do whatever they wanted to do. I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money. So I had my wife and my children there, and they had lots of people. And lots of people have a lot of things at stake. Jeb Bush spent $148 million on this campaign, and he's nowhere. He's not going to go anywhere.
Let's listen to some of the audience reaction last night, Donald, specifically around your attack about George W. Bush and 9/11. Take a listen to the audience reaction in the booze.
Okay.
Let me just tell you this. Jeb is so wrong. Jeb is absolutely so... that's just so you understand. You know what that is? That's Jeb's special interest and lobbyists talking. Look, let me just tell you something. Jeb is so wrong.
So in the room, all these boos. Tucker mentioned the Drudge poll. There's a Blaze poll on the internet that had you crushing the other candidates last night.
Well, there's a Time Magazine poll, too, and I was at 77%. That's a lot when you have 6 people up there. I was at 77% that I won. So obviously the people out there agree. Don't forget, and Tucker, you said it fantastically, something's going to have to happen with the party or we're going to lose yet another election. I'm not even doing it to win an election. I'm doing it out of common sense. The war was a horrible thing. If we're not going to admit that, you're going to have yet another election where the Democrats are going to win. And guys like, Ted Cruz cannot win an election. He's strident. He's nasty. He's not a leader.
Hey,
he's
Donald,
a horrible leader.
Speaking of Ted Cruz, he last night took you on and said that you would appoint liberals if elected. Listen, and we want to get your reaction on the other side.
Flexibility is a good thing, but you shouldn't be flexible on core principles. I like Donald. He is an amazing entertainer. But his policies for most of his life...
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For most of his life, his policies have been very, very liberal. For most of his life, he has described himself as very pro-choice and as a supporter of partial birth abortion. Right now, today, as a candidate, he supports federal taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. I disagree with him on that. That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you, if Donald Trump is president, he will appoint liberals. If Donald Trump is president, your Second Amendment will go away.
Your reaction to that, Mr. Trump?
Well, it's a lie, but let me just tell you about politicians. He goes, I like Donald Trump. I really like Donald Trump. It's a lie. He doesn't like me. This is political speak. These guys, they always say, it's like Jeb Bush and Marco. They say, oh, I like him very much. I like him. They hate each other. This is all politics. This is political speak when he says he likes me. Just so you understand, Diane Sykes, conservative judge from Wisconsin, I think would be a very good alternative. But there are others. But I will tell you this. John Roberts, Justice John Roberts, Tucker, you know him well, was put on the bench. He was forced in by Jeb Bush through his brother. He was forced in through Cruz. Cruz wanted him more than anybody. Cruz put him on. Cruz pushed him like crazy. What did he do? Twice he could have ended Obamacare. Twice, despite all knowledge, despite everything, nobody could believe it. He voted in favor of Obamacare. We should call it Roberts Care, because Justice Roberts gave us Obamacare. It should have been terminated twice. He was pushed in there by Cruz. Cruz is the one that wanted him, and he pushed him hard. So Cruz is telling me about appointing Supreme Court justices. Justice John Roberts was a disaster. We have Obamacare because of him.
So I want to get back to this, how the Republican Party should change. So your point is another Romney campaign is not going to work. How does the Republican Party need to change in order to win this election and govern effectively?
Well, somebody said last night about I was a conservative, I wasn't a conservative. You know what I am? And I came up with the term last night, I think the first time. I'm a common sense conservative. We have to use common sense. We have to have strong borders. I'm stronger than anybody on the borders. I mean, Sheriff Joe from Arizona endorsed me. That should tell you right there. But I'm stronger than anybody on the borders. I'm stronger than anybody on trade. You know that, Tucker, from dealing with me for a long time. I'm stronger than anybody. Nobody's even close to me. I want to end Obamacare. I want to end Common Core. We have to end Common Core and do education locally or we're dying. I'm stronger than anybody on the Second Amendment. But I'm also somebody that is common sense. We have a party that's gridlocked. We're not going to win the election. I mean, I can win states that nobody else can win. I can win Michigan. I can win New York. I can win states that aren't even in play for these other people. Somebody like Ted Cruz, I won't even talk about Jeb Bush because he's got no chance, even after, in New Hampshire, Jeb Bush spent $43 million. I spent $3 million, and I won by 21 points, and he was like fifth. Right. So this is the guy. I mean, are we going to have a guy like this as our president?
All right. Well, we heard you say last night, your best debate performance yet, Donald?
Well, I think I did very good. I mean, it was a different kind of a performance because everybody was gunning for me. You know, I mean, I think I did great. If you look at Drudge and if you look at Time Magazine, and every single poll said I won by a lot. But, you know, I'm very modest, and I refuse to say that.
Well, you are fired up this morning.
Next Saturday, of course, the big primary.
Hey, Tucker woke me up. There's no question about it.
All right, good to have you, Donald Trump.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, well, you just heard how Donald Trump thinks he did last night. How does a Jeb Bush supporter think his campaign